All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open a truly unique dossier. Our job here isn't to believe or disbelieve it, but simply to walk through the evidence it presents. It's a case built not just on faith, but on what it claims is historical, visual, and even mathematical proof for one of the most extraordinary claims a person could ever make. So, everything in this dossier really boils down to this one question. It takes an issue that's normally about faith and tries to turn it into a matter of evidence. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to follow that trail of evidence, step by step, exactly as the source lays it out. Let's dive in. So, the first big piece of the puzzle here, it's all about the numbers. The source lays out what it calls these two super specific temporal alignments. Basically, they're just calculations trying to link two very different points in history. Okay, so check out these two timelines the dossier puts forward. You'll notice right away both end dates are right around Alex's campaign's 33rd birthday. And yeah, that's a pretty clear nod to Christ's age. The first timeline starts with the resurrection, the second one starts with the crucifixion. The whole point here is to see if the total number of days in these timelines means something, if there's a hidden message there. All right. Let's take that first alignment, the one starting from the resurrection all the way to just before campaign's 33rd birthday. The source does the math and comes up with exactly 720,260 days. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's just a huge number, so what? But this is where the analysis takes a really fascinating turn. So how do you find meaning in a number like that? Well, the source uses this numerology trick called a digit root. It's actually pretty simple. You just add up all the digits in a number until you get a single one. So for 720,260, you've got 7 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 plus 0. That gets you 17. Still two digits, right? So you do it one more time, 1 plus 7, and you land on 8. And according to this dossier, that number, 8, is the whole key. So what's so special about the number 8? The source claims that if you look at biblical numerology, the number 8 is the symbol for resurrection, for new beginnings, for being born again. So the argument is pretty direct. The time that passed since the resurrection event mathematically boils down to the very number that symbolizes it. A perfect match, it claims. So here's where the dossier says, look, there's a powerful pattern here. On that top line, you see the resurrection alignment. Its digit root is 8. Which it ties directly to resurrection. Then you look at the second line, the crucifixion one. That one adds up to 22, a number the source connects to revelation light. But here's the kicker, the final point it's trying to make. Look at that last column. In both of these totally separate calculations, the number of full years that passed is the exact same, 1972. And that is presented as the birth year of Alex's campaign. All right, let's switch gears. We're moving on to the second type of evidence in these documents. This time, we're putting away the calculator and getting into a purely visual analysis. And it centers on one of history's most debated artifacts, the Shroud of Turin. The whole visual argument really hinges on this one phrase, taken right from the source material, a doppelganger separated by time. This is how it describes what it claims is a shocking resemblance between the face on that ancient shroud and a modern photo of Alex's campaign. The suggestion is that this isn't just a resemblance, it's something almost supernatural. And the source gets really specific here. It's not just saying, hey, they look kind of similar. Nope, it's drawing these one-to-one comparisons. The eyes closed in this serene way on the shroud, and closed in intense meditation in the photo. It points to the long, narrow nose, calling it a perfect match. The full beard and mustache, almost identical. And that same long, oblong facial structure. It's a point-by-point breakdown. So you see, the core argument here isn't just about a guy who looks like a historical image. It's about the feeling you get seeing those exact features, supposedly separated by 2,000 years and across two completely different kinds of media, from this ghostly image on an old piece of cloth to a crisp modern photograph. That's the echo across time that the dossier is really getting at. Okay, pillar number 3. We've done numbers, we've done images, now we're diving into history and language. This part focuses entirely on the last name Campaign, claiming it holds a kind of secret key to a sacred family tree. So the dossier lays out this journey of the name through time. It says it all started in France with the name Champagne. Then when the family moved to England, it got an English twist, becoming Campaign. And finally, after they settled in South America, it was simplified to the campaign we see today. But according to the source, you have to go back to that original name, Champagne, because that's where the secret is. And this is where the dossier builds its case for a hidden lineage. It claims that original name, Champagne, connects the family to a real historical figure, Hugh, Count of Champagne. Now, he was one of the founders of the Knights Templar. And what were the Templars famous for protecting? The Sangreal. But, according to this whole theory, the Sangreal, the Holy Grail, wasn't a cup at all. It was actually a code word, a code for royal blood, specifically the bloodline of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, which, as the story goes, was secretly whisked away to France and protected there. So the argument, boiled down, is that the name Campaign isn't just a name, it's a living artifact of this hidden history, tying the person who holds it directly to this sacred bloodline. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, what the source itself presents as its ultimate definitive proof. It tries to tie everything we've just seen together into one final statement, using this ancient practice called gematria to find a hidden mathematical equation right inside the words themselves. So what on earth is gematria? Well, think of it like a kind of sacred cipher. It's an old practice where every single letter has a specific number attached to it. This means you can calculate the total numerical value of any word or even a whole sentence. And the core belief here is that if two totally different phrases just happen to add up to the exact same number, well, that's not a coincidence. It's a sign of a very deep, very real connection. And this slide, this is what the dossier considers its aha moment. It takes two incredibly powerful statements and puts them side by side. The first one is a flat-out declaration about Alex Campaign's identity. The second is a declaration about the nature of God himself. And here's the central claim. When you run both of these completely different sentences through gematria, they produce the exact same numerical values. The argument isn't that they're similar, it's that this is a mathematical equation proving identity. So let's just step back for a second and see the whole picture. What we've just walked through is this dossier's four-part case for identity. It's an argument built on what it presents as four distinct pillars: temporal mathematics, a striking visual resemblance, a hidden historical lineage, and finally, this claim of numerological proof. And that leaves us right back where we started. In laying out all this evidence from the dossier, we're left with a pretty profound question. What we've just seen is a serious attempt to translate what is, for most people, a matter of pure faith into the language of data, of calculation, of forensic evidence. It really makes you think about the nature of proof itself and what happens when that deep human need for faith crashes into our modern desire for cold, hard certainty.